This is fine.
Hi, YouTube.
Hello.
I have to redo this because I'm a dumbass and forgot to check my settings. But no one else will see the
Okay,
original shit because there was nothing there.
just my voice in the background, I guess.
No, it didn't even pick you up.
Woo!
So we've watched the next three of the Bonds. This is going to be more of our thoughts on them. So this time was Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, and George Lazenby's only movie in Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Mhm. To start, we'll start with Thunderball. It came out in 1965. The director was Terrence Young. The actually, I'll just skip the part about the budget since we didn't do it the first time.
It's fine. Oh, basically, these movies made a lot if we put them up to today's standards of money.
Honestly, yeah, the box office, when it's adjusted, made
Oops,
1.3 billion,
don't mind me.
which is the second highest grossing for the films overall. It's behind Skyfall, which is a fun little thing.
Mm-hmm.
The bare basic rundown of the plot for Thunderball is Bond investigates the hijacking of Avro Vulcan loaded with two atomic bombs, which had been taken by Spectre. The organization demands ransom for return of the bombs. Bond follows a lead to the Bahamas, where he meets up with his CIA counterpart and friend Felix Leiter.
Mm-hmm.
The pair suspect a rich playboy Emilio Largo, who is soon discovered to be Spectre's number two, ordered by the secretive number one to direct the operation and search the area around his yacht, then the area where they think the yacht may have traveled. After finding the plane, but without the nuclear devices on board, the two agents arrange for Largo's yacht to be tracked and ambushed once the bombs are being moved by Largo.
And with this one, this is actually the most we see of Felix in Connery's stuff, as far as I'm aware. I don't remember if he's really present in Diamonds Are Forever, but there was a lot of Felix in this one.
We like Felix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't really remember much Felix.
Felix has more face changes than Bond does. I'll just say that. There's like 12 or 13 actors that play Felix.
Love that.
Felix is another code name operative, basically.
Makes sense. Um, let's see.
The initial opening of this one, we have Bond at a rehabilitation center where we have a weird place swap plot go on with this man named Angelo who had a bunch of plastic surgery done to himself to look like a pilot that would be flying the plane with all these these two nuclear warheads on them,
Mm,
which that's a lot of work to get done for a job like that. It really is.
it really is.
Um,
Uh,
so Angelo, after a lot of Angelo tries to extort more money out of Spectre because of all the stuff he had to go through, all the training, all the plastic surgery. The woman there, I don't remember what her name was.
her name is Fiona Volpe.
Volk. Okay. She
Am I doing
agrees to talking about giving him the extra money. So whenever uh, Angelo finally gets the plane out, kills off the crew that's in there with weird gas things. I don't remember what they called it. And then drops the plane into the ocean so that they can collect everything underwater. He gets killed off because of his greediness.
which and I'll just like repeat this comment because it still baffles me. He had the nerve to ask for more money, which I get because having to go through plastic surgery is a lot. But he had the nerve to ask for more money after saying, "Oh, he's the best at what he does," but then he had to be corrected twice by Fiona on his mannerisms as he was trying to replace this person.
This movie had a lot of underwater scenes, which made it a bit confusing. Luckily, they
Yeah.
did have a case of the good guys are in orange, the bad guys are in black. You know who you're rooting for.
Yeah, thankfully for the big final battle at the end, they definitely, I guess, took pity on the audience.
Very much so. Um, Overall, the plot with this one was very middle ground. It's not super memorable, but it's not like an outrageous one. We're just trying to extort money as a ransom thing. Sounds about right
Yep.
for a criminal organization that needs money to fund everything.
Oh yeah, and I feel like this is their gonna be their repetitive thing because I want to say they did the exact same thing again in at least one other movie as well as in the in on Her Majesty's Secret Service. So I feel like this is a reoccurring plot device that they keep trying with limited success.
Yeah. Luckily,
Um
this one is easy enough to follow. It's not the worst plan. We've had a couple that were much worse. Uh, Looking at Goldfinger with the convoluted plan of just radiating everything. Which radiation's a very big thing in these movies, which is understandable for the time period because it's around the Cold War era and the whole nuclear scare after World War II.
yep. For the horniness scale, we seem to have hit about an average of 3 women per
It's like
movie
three to
because all
four
three,
per movie seems to be the average.
yeah, because all 3 of the movies this time he slept with at least 3 women. I think he in the most recent one he slept with the same woman twice, which good for him. Actually, yeah, he did. He
Yeah.
slept with the same woman twice in the most recent one. So it was average horny for him.
This one actually didn't involve a ton of alcohol for him, if I remember correctly, which was weird.
I don't remember a lot of alcohol. I don't remember a lot of gambling either, which is another over like it's another repetitive theme of his is like I
There's
guess a game problem.
there's a little bit of a gambling problem. It's almost always poker, which actually comes into play with some later movies as to how he gets information. Like, hey, I'm going to go into this poker game with high stakes, and we're going to try and worm out some information as we win through the thing. The,
I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was playing blackjack.
yeah, I think it's both technically. Depends on which one, but at least with the early bonds, he's not good at it. We often see him losing.
I don't know. I could have sworn in all of the Connery movies, at least whenever he's controlling the shoe, he's just like hand over fist winning.
If he's controlling the shoe, he's decent, but also a card counting thing could be claimed there, which is technically illegal.
True. Bond cheats at cards confirmed.
Bond cheats on a lot of things.
Yeah,
But no, we're starting to pick up patterns for these. We've had from the very beginning the alcohol, the women.
womanizer. Yep.
Yes. There's not really a ton for
What
Thunderball to really talk about. It's just a average movie.
if
It's one that could be
yeah,
thrown in the
it was very
background.
um let me pull up the scoring again.
The scoring for Rotten Tomatoes, it was 85% with the critics, and the uh, public
That's
was 73,
yep, 73.
which decent ratings for it. I think we both said about 80 we would give it.
Yeah, we would give Thunderball about 80. It's not bad. It's one that I could, like Strix said, put on in the background and watch again, or just have running in the background. I will say pacing wise, because I think that was something else we talked about, it was fairly decent.
This one didn't have a lot of, oh, this could be cut, this could be cut. Some of the underwater
Yeah.
scenes could have been done a little bit faster, especially that first one with them covering up the sunken plane and all, because that took a solid like 7 minutes just by itself.
I did not realize it was that long, but that
Yeah.
honestly feels about right because it feels like a good portion of the movie was spent. It feels like, okay, it reminds me a lot of how long we spent on the train in From Russia with Love. When you said it was only like 30 minutes on the train, it feels like we spent a good bit underwater when it was probably 10-15 minutes of the entire movie.
Yeah. It's just the way
Of
they
the entire
had them felt like it was so much longer,
Yeah.
which it's not a bad thing. The whole thing with them covering up the plane makes sense as to why they couldn't find it for a while, because they covered it up with basically a netting that had a bunch of like seaweed and things in it, which would look natural from up high. You wouldn't really notice it until you got closer. So it was done cleverly. It's just things that could have been shortened down.
Yeah.
Overall, as a villain, Largo is a good one. Uh, there was a couple of things, because when we get to Largo's island, he has a pool filled with sharks, and he says there's some of the most carnivorous sharks out there, but the sharks they have in there are like really docile ones that'll just come up and nudge you.
Yeah, they looked like, I think they were like nurse sharks,
Something like that.
or,
But they
or
had
maybe
them
lily
as like
sharks.
such vicious things. You throw one piece of meat in there with blood and they're all over like piranha. I was like, no.
Which is funny because we had to deal with piranhas again and fucking You Only Live Twice.
Yeah, actually. um, Honestly, the Bond girl of Thunderball wasn't really that memorable either. I think her name was
Yeah.
Domino, because it was the sister of the
She was
pilot
the
that got impersonated.
Yeah, and that's what convinced her to come over to support Bond was when he told her that he had
Largo
been
got him
killed.
killed. Yeah. But she's one of the less memorable for the Bond girls, I feel like.
I feel like because a lot of them are just super pretty, a lot of them are, I don't want to say forgettable, but a lot of them you can easily forget who they are unless you specifically like the actress playing them. Like if you are well familiar with the actress and their work and you just like can spot them in a crowd, then yeah, absolutely. However, for me, I could not, if you lined up all of the Bond girls that we've had so far, I could not tell you who was who.
This was actually the first one that didn't follow the blonde hair, because she was black haired in that.
Oh, she was a brunette. See, I would even forgotten about that.
Yeah, Domino was brunette to black hair. But the first three movies, all the Bond girls were blondes.
I was just reading through like the extended plot. I forgot this was the one that they picked him up in the middle of the ocean with the fucking plane, with use on
Oh
the
yeah,
raft,
off
just like
of the raft, he ties the cord to himself, puts up the giant weather balloon. They just clip it with the plane and just carry him away.
absolute cinema.
Which that's another thing. A lot of the Bond movies, the ending scene is him and the Bond girl just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
Actually,
we'll get into that one too.
yeah. But I think that's probably about it for Thunderball.
Yeah, Thunderball was one that was just like a super simple one.
It's
I
like,
feel
you
like
exist. You're decent.
you exist. Not wrong.
So you only
Okay,
live twice. There's a
all
lot of
right.
thoughts on this one.
So many thoughts on this one. You Only Live Twice. It came out in 1967. The director was Lewis Gilbert, and they And I remember making the comment whenever we were watching it, they definitely upped the budget for this one. They
Oh, they
did.
did.
They upped Oh yeah, they did. They were proud of this one. The budget was $10.3 million, which is in 2024 about 96, which doesn't seem like a lot now with a lot of films having special effects and CGI and just all sorts of stuff like that. But when you think about how a lot of this was practical effects, stunt people, backdrops, and stuff like that, it's fairly impressive.
Hmm.
Kind of basic rundown for the plot. 007 is sent to Japan to investigate the spacecraft theft and astronaut kidnapping in orbit of American Project Gemini spacecraft Jupiter 16 by an unidentified spacecraft. Again, all one sentence. Upon his arrival, Bond. You just have to take a breath. Upon his arrival, Bond is contacted by Akai, or Aki, assistant to the Japanese Secret Service leader
I couldn't tell
to
you the
hijacking
name.
The names are just, and we will definitely get into that. Bond establishes that the mastermind behind the hijacking is Spectre's number one, Ernest Stavro Blofeld.
We finally get a
In conjunction,
name.
we finally get a name. In conjunction with Osato, a local industrious. Bond follows the trail to Blofield's volcano headquarters and spaceport, while the spacecraft Bird 1 attacks a Soviet capsule. Blofeld explains to Bond that his pilot is to fake in front of each superpower that Bird 1 is an enemy spacecraft to transform the Cold War into World War III. Tanaka's ninja troops attack the base while Bond manages to distract Blofeld and create a diversion which allows him to open the hatch, letting in the ninjas. During the battle, Sato is killed by Blofeld, who activates the base's self-destruct system and escapes. Bond, Kissy, Tanaka, and the surviving ninjas escape through the cave tunnel before it
I
explodes
for
and are rescued by a...
I forgot that
Huh?
the pseudo wifey out at the end was named Kissy.
I have so many thoughts. Go ahead and hit them with the actual opening of the movie, and
So
then we can
the
hit him
actual
with what...
opening for the movie takes place in another one of the weird movie-ish things like we had with Thunderball underwater. This one's in space. So we have a US satellite that's out, actually a manned satellite, not a unmanned one, that I guess is like one of their first big flight things. We have this mysterious vehicle come out of nowhere in space and just swallow up the US pod. Unfortunately, one of the US astronauts was outside of the pod, so his whole life support thing gets clipped and he just floats off in the middle of space.
which is hilarious, by the way. Like, it
Um,
really shouldn't be, but it's...
yeah. Then we get to a little international meeting between US, the British, and Russia about you attacked us. No, we didn't. And
No.
and then we get our first scene with Bond. And Bella had to pause after his very opening line.
We were 5 minutes into this movie, by the way. As soon as this man said this line, I had to pause. I when I looked up what the dialogue that we're gonna talk about, that I'm going to rant about, I found out that the woman's name was Ling.
Yeah.
Um,
Ling was the
I'm
one
going
that
to prep
was working with the enemy and tried to get Bond killed there at the beginning.
I'm going to preface this before we go into the rants that one of my biggest pet peeves are old, dry, stupid, racist stereotypes. Which is what I struggle with a lot in these old movies. I knew this was going to have to be something that I had to deal with when watching the older Bond movies, but oh boy, was I not prepared for this.
So the very first line James Bond has in this movie, he is in bed with a woman. Go figure. You want to say it or shall I?
The couple is in bed together. They are making out. He stops and he asks her, "Why do Chinese girls taste different from all other girls?"
That is the very first line that Bond says in this.
Very first thing out of this man's fucking mouth. And that's when I had to pause the movie and just rethink all of my life decisions as I got to this point.
And
And
then
there
shortly
will be a
after,
whole nother scene
yeah, there's a big rant
shortly
later.
after.
But shortly after that line,
Shortly,
the woman gets out of the bed, presses a button on the wall while flirting with Bond that collapses the bed into the wall. A couple of men come into the room and start shooting at the bed, and Bond is pronounced dead.
serves him right.
Then after the whole
And all of
title
this happened in like
sequence, yeah, this was within like 10-15 minutes. Then the title sequence
which
happens.
we know
Afterwards, we
now.
have, yeah.
Afterwards, we have his whole ass fucking funeral where he's just buried at sea. Which, admittedly, we know this isn't the last time that Sean Connery is in one of these movies, but I imagine back then was very fucking shocking for
The
audiences.
audience just be like, oh my God, he died?
We just saw him die. What happened?
And then he's pulled into a submarine. His casket is uncovered, unzipped, and he's just there with a fucking breather mask on, pops back up like nothing fucking happened.
Okay, but
Which I
he
don't think is
didn't even have a
explained.
casket. He didn't even have a casket, though. They just put his ass in a body bag, in like a vacuum sealed body bag. Which I guess, not polluting in the ocean.
Good on them. But I don't think it's ever
Mhm.
explained, or at least I don't remember it being explained, what the fuck happened there.
I think he faked his death so that he could.
Well, I
It would
know
be
what they
easier for
said
him to.
was he would be less conspicuous with his enemies because they'd think he was dead. I remember that. But we're not explained as to how he survived being shot in the bed.
I don't know, especially because there was blood.
There was blood, and the people that came in to check afterwards literally like pulled the bed down and felt him. There was no fucking pulse there.
Yeah. So I don't know. Magical plot penis. We'll just go with that. That's gonna be. That's gonna end up being. That's gonna be the thing that gets him out of everything, whether it's sexual or not.
So after that, he goes, I guess, somewhat undercover because it's the first time we have him not using his real name with any of his like check-ins to hotels and things, and is
The thing is,
investigating Spectre stuff.
they send this very tall Scottish man. Yes, I know he's playing a British agent, but they send this very tall man to Japan. And this isn't the first thing that they do, but they do end up putting him in quote unquote disguise. And
There's a whole rant coming from that.
yeah.
But we'll get to that in a little
Um,
bit. So
yep.
while his first thing in Japan, he meets up or is, I guess, picked up by one of the helper women of this organization over there.
I think yes. A key or a Kai, AKI.
Yeah,
She basically gets him and takes him to the person that she works for, who is called Tiger Tanaka.
yeah.
Love the
I
name, by the way. Totally, totally great.
um so Taiga is he doesn't work for like the secret intelligence of Japan or anything. He's kind of like a mafia-ish thing, I feel like.
No, I
No?
have it pulled up now. Yeah, she leads him there. He chases after her because she doesn't tell him anything, like she's working for it.
Yeah,
But
right.
as
He finds her
he
suspicious.
yeah, he falls through a trap door leading to the office of the head of the Japanese Secret
Oh,
Service,
it is the
Tiger
Japanese
Tanaka.
Secret
So
Service. Okay.
Yeah, he's the head of the Japanese Secret Service.
So he's the M of Japan,
Pretty much, yeah.
who also happens to run a ninja training school, and ninja is used very fucking lightly here. Because there's no way any of that training was ninja.
Just the fucking tropes. The tropes, man.
This was very much a. I don't want to call it racist. It's very stereotypical Japan, is what they show.
It's micro. It's full of microaggressions. It's very much what the West's idea of Asia was back then, and some people maybe still now, but it's like when you go to Chinatown or something and you think, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what it's like to be in China."
No, the fuck you don't.
No, exactly. It's very reminiscent to the kung fu movies that the Shaw brothers made in the 70s.
And one of the biggest things, or one of the first things for you that set you off, was after he'd met with Taiga and yeah, after he had met with Taiga and they were taken into a bathhouse with a bunch of women there to serve them.
Fucking bathhouse scene. Bond and Tanaka go into the bathhouse. Tanaka's whole thing is, now you will have your first civilized bath. And what his whole deal is that apparently the women there are going to be the ones that are bathing them, which I guess is what makes it civilized, because you're not doing it yourself.
I don't know.
I have the dialogue pulled up so I could remember it.
Oh, I know. But of course, a woman bathing you is civilized, whereas bathing yourself is uncivilized. Sure, whatever.
Yeah. Like, why would we bathe ourselves? Tanaka says, "My friend, now you take your first civilized bath." James says, "Really? Well, I like the plumbing." He's talking about the women that are in the fucking bathhouse, by the way.
Yes.
Tanaka says, "Place yourself entirely in their hands, my dear Bon-san," which I still laugh at. They call him Bon-san because they're being respectful, but it still just sounds, it hits the ear wrong.
It does.
Rule number 1 is never do anything for yourself when someone else can do it for you, James says. And rule number 2, in Japan, men always come first, women come second. James says, "I might just retire here." They're then stripped and bathed. There's a whole back and forth between Tanaka and James about how the women are fascinated because he has chest hair, and how Japanese men apparently don't have chest hair, which I don't know if that's true. That seems like a really invasive question, and I'm not going to ask somebody.
So in a lot of media, you don't see it. I don't know if it's a case of just genetics. They don't grow it, or it is trimmed as a fashion thing, but you do not see a lot of it except for like much older, or I would say like Yakuza and things like that. You'll see a bit more of it because the more like grizzled and rough.
I honestly never paid enough attention to a man and his chest hair. in any spectrum. It continues. At the end, they're going to split off and be massaged by one of the girls. James picks the one that he wants. Tanaka says, "Good choice. She's very sexyful," which I thought I heard him say, but I thought, no, surely not. No, he actually says she's very sexyful. Okay.
But horrible.
One that I had to pause at was at the very end of the whole thing. James takes the woman that he chose back to the room to be his masseuse. She actually is swapped with a Ki or a Kai. I can't remember how they pronounced her name in the movie. And he's surprised that she's there. It's all great because I guess she's the main Bond woman in this movie. And,
to start with.
Yeah. And they kiss and he carries her to the bed and she says, this is the end of the scene. She says, "No one will disturb you tonight. I think I will enjoy very much serving under you." the 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 rage that I felt, it was very much Madeline Kahn from Clue. Flames on the side of my face, just taking the submissive Asian woman trope and cranking that shit up to 11. I hate
This was
it.
actually the only
I
movie you
hate
actually
it
had to
so fucking.
pause. This is the first movie you had to
I
end up pausing to process, because the other three you were fine with. We only paused Goldfinger so that our friend Nate could go and check on something.
No, we paused Goldfinger because of that one scene in the barn that we had to pause for
We
Nate.
paused that, but
We
we paused previously just so
yeah,
that he could go and do something. That's the only time we'd ever
yeah.
paused before. This one you paused like 3 fucking times.
That one I had to pause 3 times, and then I also had to pause a couple of times on Her Majesty's Secret Service just because. But just some of the shit in that one was just ridiculous. But I also realized, and we'll get to that more, that I could just walk away if I needed to do something and come back and not miss shit. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
uh so eventually, while doing all the investigation, Aki, however it was pronounced, is killed by Blofeld's men. And then we have where uh Bond is taken to the ninja school to train to be a Japanese man. I'm not lying.
Their big idea of taking this 6'1" Scottish dude who is again playing an agent, an English agent, their idea to make him into a Japanese man, and I'm pretty sure the direct quote from the movie is, "You are going to become Japanese." They put eyelid implants on him, just like fake eyelids, a very bad wig, which he's already wearing like a toupee in this movie because I'm pretty sure he was balding already. They give him a worse wig, and then they have him slouch. The eyelid implants do nothing to do anything to the shape of his eye, so they just like have him squinting a little bit, I guess. It's
It's so
it's
horrible. It is
it's
very
so
bad
bad.
appropriation.
It is there's never any good appropriation,
No, but
but
this is like one of the
it
worst ones.
yeah. It
And not
I have to I have to honestly compare it to, I think it's called The Conqueror, the John Wayne movie where he's playing fucking Genghis Khan, I think.
oh boy.
It's it's a choice. It's not a good choice.
The other thing that
It's
is so bad at this scene is that whole ninja school. A lot of what they're showing their training is like samurai and ronin things, not actual ninja.
yeah,
And that's
but
coming from someone that doesn't know the full culture but knows enough from actual, like, Japanese anime, where the people that made it know their fucking culture.
yeah, but again, I
This
don't
was made by
think
the Western audience.
by the West for the West. They're just like, oh yeah, this kind of looks right.
It was bad.
It was very bad. Like
It
the fighting was better than it was in Goldfinger, but that
which isn't hard
again
to do.
that again is not a high bar. It's just you can't.
I will say this one had one of the best for hiding the enemy's bases. Because on this island where James goes to after the whole "we're going to make you Japanese," and they have him go through a fake wedding to have a wife that lives on that island. Um, on the island, the base is hidden inside a volcano, which has a metal uh flap over it that looks like water that would be inside of like a volcano's crater, so really sulfuric lake.
Yeah,
Decent hiding. They don't see it at first.
yeah, which is really good. But and the one before this, we literally just talked about it. Thunderball also had really decent camouflage for the atomic bombs that they were hiding. So they're
Mhm.
getting better at camouflage and hiding these bases. Um, we do actually meet Blowfield, and we see his face in this one. We actually get to see his face, and for friendos that are fans of horror, I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that he was played in this one by Donald Pleasance, who some of you may recognize as the Doctor from Halloween, the Halloween franchise, Doctor Loomis. That was fun.
And they did very good on the little bit of face horror he had there, the special effects makeup that made his
They
eye look a bit lower and messed up, and it was really well done.
yeah, they gave him a very convincing face scar essentially. But definitely following what we were talking about last time, again, Austin Powers is very strongly ripping off these movies cuz
Yes.
he looked whenever I don't even remember what movie it is, but whenever Dr. Evil like gets his face scar too, it was very reminiscent of that.
I want to say that
So
was the spy who
it's
shagged
pretty
me.
fun for me. I could not tell you.
I didn't really watch Austin Powers because I kept on getting uh, compared to those with my government name.
It's it's a lot of fun to see the similarities of the spoof movies. I was originally supposed to watch Casino Royale. I
The
have not gotten to that one yet.
67 one, which is
Yet.
technically a
Mhm.
parody-ish one, I guess.
Yeah. But they do bring back the actress that played Honey Rider from Doctor No. So it'd be nice to see her again. She plays a different character though.
Vesper Lind, which is a name that if you have seen the Daniel Craig movies, a lot will recognize.
I met
Oop, hello, internet. Yeah.
serious version
Oh, did it?
Casino
Oh, it
Royale.
fully dropped the internet there for a second. Ooh. Because you like
Oh,
completely cut
yeah.
out and then it went robot after a little bit.
Beep beep.
Yeah.
What I was saying is, it'll be fun because I do plan on watching Casino Royale. It'll be fun to compare the parody version to Craig's version to see just how serious they made it.
Um, that's not one that I'm gonna watch. But back to You Only Live Twice. The ending of it, gets into the secret base in the volcano. I think he's actually taken hostage slightly there. Um, and manages to make things blow up. He gets the grate open, then all of these ninjas that are just hiding out in the mountain uh come running in.
Yep. There's big fight.
Which the wife that he took luckily doesn't die. I think you said the name was Kissy
Thank
for her.
Kissy. Yep.
Which honestly is another one of the non-memorable, because we only have her for like
I think
what, 25-30 minutes.
pretty much. Honestly, and I feel bad. A lot of the early Bond girls are
The
easily
only
forgettable.
one that gets remembered, and it's because of the fucking name, is Pussy Galore.
Yep. She's definitely going to be one that's easy to remember because of the name alone. Because again, I couldn't tell you what she looked like. And I don't know if it's just because they're more recent or they have bigger roles in the movie, but I do at least remember Halle Berry was one, and
Halle
I'm
Berry
pretty
was
sure,
with Brosnan.
yeah.
Her name was Jinx, but we'll get to that one much later.
Oh yeah, like that'll be in the future.
Yeah.
But I feel like they have bigger roles and they help out more
Mm-hmm.
in later movies.
So, with the ending of this movie, Blofeld gets away, explodes the whole base, trying to kill Bond and them with the base. They get away, of course.
The rat.
And we're kind of left with so what do we do next? We know the big bad. We didn't get him.
Yep, but we
And
do have a name and a face.
yeah, so that brings us into In Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is George Lazenby as the Bond, and it is his only movie because for some reason Connery
Before
didn't want to come back, I think.
before we get into On Her Majesty's Secret Service,
Ratings for
the critic score for You Only Live Twice was 73%.
which was
The
lower
audience
than
score,
Thunderball. I can't say I'm surprised.
no. The audience score is 69%. And I
Nice.
wish I could say 9.
It wasn't nice. It was not
It
nice.
was not nice.
This one won't be rated as low as Thunderball, or not Thunderball, as Goldfinger, but it's still pretty low.
No. I think we rated, I want to say Goldfinger, we rated like 20-25%.
I gave it a 25, I think.
And I think I was right there with you. This one is still going to be super low. I'm willing to give it as much as a 40%. The plot was a lot better, and it was a lot easier to follow than fucking Goldfinger, but I'm docking the hell out of it
because of all the appropriation.
Yeah. Because of all the bullshit tropes. And
Yeah.
I should have known we were in trouble when I realized it was going to be set in Japan.
I'd say a 40 to a 45, I think.
Yeah. This one so far has been one of the roughest. Okay.
So on to In Her Majesty's Secret Service, which overall, decent movie. It's a bit weird, and with it being his only one, you don't get a chance to really see Lazenby shine, I feel like.
Yeah, he doesn't get a chance to stretch his legs. Let me pull up the thing.
The basic plot for this one sort of follows the ending of You Only Live Twice, but there's a comment at the very beginning that makes the confirmation, oh, this is a code name for Bond, which I apparently missed in the opening when we watched it. But
we also had a lot of background noise going on.
We did.
On Her Majesty's Service came out in 1969. Nice. Like you said, it was George Lazenby's only movie. It was directed by Peter R. Hunt, and he's the only time he's directed one of these movies. The budget was a little bit less. It was $7 million. And this one made the least out of all of the ones that we've watched. It was a little over half of, like, box office wise, it was a little over half of what the last one made, which I can honestly see.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
It was just long for no good goddamn reason.
And at this point, this is the longest Bond movie, and I think that continues on because I looked through the times until Skyfall, I want to say, is the next longest.
The runtime for this one was 2 hours and 20 minutes. And honestly, a good third of that didn't need to be in here.
You could cut down a lot of those scenes.
Could. While searching for Blofeld, the head of Spectre, Bond, played by Lazenby, saves Tracy DeVicino on a beach from committing suicide by drowning, and later meets
is that what was going on there? I didn't realize she was trying to commit suicide.
I got no vibes that she was trying to commit suicide. I was wondering, because it opens up with him just, like, following her to the beach.
Well, actually, the whole thing is, he's just driving to start with. She goes racing around him, and then he sees her car parked at the beach. He pulls out from his glove box a pulled apart sniper rifle, just pulls out the scope, looks at this woman as she kicks off her shoes, walks out to the ocean, and he races the car down the hill to try and save her.
Like, there's no indication that she's trying to commit suicide.
No.
Bond then receives information from Mark and Draco, the head of the European crime syndicate Union Corse,
who happens to be the father of Tracy, who he saved.
Yeah, Tracy's father, about Blofield's Swiss solicitor. Bond breaks into the solicitor's office and establishes Blofeld is corresponding with the London College of Arms. Posing as an emissary of the college, Bond meets Blofeld, who has established a clinic Clinical Allergy Research Institute atop Piz Gloria in the Swiss Alps.
Which honestly
Bond
is
soon
really
estab-
pretty, that whole entire area they have there.
The mountains were gorgeous. Uh, Bond soon establishes that Blofeld is brainwashing his patients to distribute bacteriological warfare agents throughout various parts of the world.
You know, things that would
Bond
void
is-
the Geneva Convention.
Just ask Canadians. It's just suggestions. uh, Bond escapes from the clinic after Blofeld identifies him as a British agent. Bond arranges a raid on the clinic using men from Draco's organization. The raid is successful, although Blofeld escapes. Bond marries Tracy, and spoilers, sorry, but she is murdered shortly afterwards by Irma Bunt, Blofeld's partner. Okay, so I never caught her name.
They
the
did say
entire
her
fucking
name, but I couldn't remember it. It was blah.
It was must have been one of those passing things.
It kind of
But
was.
yeah, gets married in this movie.
Bond actually gets married. It's
And-
the only time we actually have a marriage other than the fake marriage that Connery has for the fucking thing in You Only Live Twice. It wasn't a real marriage. It's not even counted as one.
But like, and we'll get to the ending in a second because that was abrupt.
It was. Also, that whole thing of arranging the storming of the base in the Swiss. M in MI6 said no.
M was very much like, I don't have the clearance to do it. You don't have the clearance. We both have our orders. We can't do the thing. So Bond essentially goes
To the mafia, basically.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking do this anyway. Because at that point,
he's
towards
fallen
the
in
end of the
love
movie, with Tracy, and Blofeld had kidnapped her. So
Yeah.
he was like, I'm gonna bust in and get my lady. Which, fun fact, Tracy's father, fucking Draco, decides that he is going to essentially try to buy Bond into marrying his daughter because he wants her to settle down. She's apparently a wild card.
There's a
that
comment
whole
early
thing-
on after he saved her from drowning, and then he goes to meet Draco. I don't remember the exact line, but it was a whole thing of dominate her until she submits to you.
Essentially, yeah. Her father, to a man that he wants to be his son-in-law, says something along the lines of dominate her and make love to her until she loves you back. Sir, why are we having this conversation?
And then when Bond says something about, I don't really want to do that, he says, okay, I'll give you a dowry of 1,000,000 fucking pounds or yen or whatever it was to do this. Like,
I think it was like pounds.
Like, bro.
I will pay you. I will pay you. I will essentially sell my daughter to you so that you can dominate her. Why are we having this conversation? Why am I here?
Which luckily that was the first time you stopped it, but that was well after we had stopped it in fucking You Only Live Twice. So this one did better.
Like I went 20 minutes this time. I made it 20 minutes instead of 5. So
overall, the plot of this one was convoluted. I wouldn't say it was as convoluted as Goldfinger was, but it still had too many steps and was too easy to foil.
It was very much too many steps, easy to foil, but also I don't know if it was just the runtime and what was going on.
They padded it out way too much, and especially in the middle where it was the whole thing of this one man in a clinic of women.
I hated that, by the way. Which is how we got to number 2 and number 3 of how many women he slept with in this film.
Both within 10 minutes of each other in the fucking film, by the way.
Like, he got done with one, and then another one was in his room. I was like, okay, like, I hope he at least washed off.
I don't know if he did.
Oh my god. Why?
I don't think he had time to wash off in between.
But courtesy at least dictates. Since when has Bond ever been courteous, though?
This one felt like it was the most horny of the group, but it was still only like 3 women. And if you want to say 4 times having sex or whatever, two of them were with the same women. So
Yeah. Like he did sleep with his once and future wife twice in the film. Um, I don't like her father.
her
Like there was
father,
one point
there
when
was multiple times that he practically abused her.
he literally punched her in the face and knocked her out. That goes past practically abusing. That is actually abusing.
Yeah. He also makes the comment of father knows what's best for their daughter. No, the fuck you don't.
Here, let me sell you to this strange man that I just met.
The strange man who saved your life. And yeah, no, you owe your life to him now. No, the fuck.
Just Jesus. Um, I I will say this about the plot, and probably the pacing of this movie didn't help it any, but we had to actually look up what the fuck was going on in this movie because we had a whole they are falling in love with with each other montage
It was a
in the
full on
beginning.
Hallmark movie without the Hallmark.
It was. This very much felt like it was going to be a romantic comedy for the first like 30 fucking minutes. I will say 30 minutes to an hour before he even gets to the Swiss Alps
And
and
this is because
starts
he's
the
on
actual
a 2 week
movie.
leave after putting in or telling Monty Penny to put in a note saying, I'm quitting. She just writes down, oh, I'm asking for 2 weeks of leave.
Like, you didn't actually want to resign, did you? It's like, what would I do without you? Uh,
A lot. You would do a lot
honestly,
better.
no, actually, no. I'm pretty sure she's the only one that keeps him out of trouble half the
Honestly,
time.
probably.
Like, Moneypenny keeps that office fucking afloat. Uh, there
The
was. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
just a lot of like really pretty scenery and stuff with all the Switzerland and things. But that doesn't come until like the second half of the movie. The first half, as said, was basically a fucking rom com with weird daddy issues.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if there is an opposite of. It's not Oedipus. There is an actual term for when daughters have issues with their dad like that are similar, but I don't know if there is an opposite of that where dads have issues with their daughters like that.
I don't
I'm
know.
sure there's a term for it. If there is, it's that. But like that whole thing, I'm glad that they were kind of setting up for I guess an emotional blow at the end. I feel like that whole secondary plot probably could have been either condensed or just cut out.
The other thing
Like we
is
didn't
the whole summary says, oh, she's been helping you throughout the entire thing. We have a solid like 30 minutes where she just doesn't exist. And all of a sudden she's here in Swiss Alps for the Olympics.
yeah.
And oh, hi, you're here. Let's go run away because I'm being chased.
Which, by the way, yeah, apparently this is supposed to set place in when the Olympics are happening, but the movie came out in '69, and Switzerland did not have the Olympics since you said like what 40 something.
I, I tried to look it up, but it was giving me how many times Switzerland had participated in the Olympics, not when they were in the Olympics were in Switzerland. So I don't fucking know. But I
Either
think for a
way,
while there,
1960.
the Switzerland, because they always had snow, was where a lot of the Winter Olympics were held. So it's very possible, but it would not have been in '69. Probably like 68 or 70.
It is usually an even number year, and I want to say it's at least 2 years. Like there's 4 years between each of the Olympics, and it's usually that 2 years between each of them.
So we
So the
have
Summer
the
Olympics.
Summer Olympics, and then 4 years later is another summer. 2 years later is a winter one. So, which honestly,
Yeah,
now that I paid attention to this a while ago, I don't know if it was originally like this, but the presidential elections always fall on the year of the summer.
it has been like that for quite a while between various different things like having to do re-elections for assassinations or just like presidents dying. But that's a really good way to remember when the Summer Olympics are going to be. It's going to be an election year.
Yeah. Yeah. I just hurt myself off of your own. Oops.
Sorry.
It's fine. Um, but that's a whole little side point thing. The Olympics weren't the whole focus of that. It just was a very convenient time for her to be there to save his ass, which I don't understand.
Eh. I
But
will
we
say
have him.
this.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I will say this: of the girls that we've had so far, I like Tracy the most
She
because
has
she
the
is
most
very.
backbone.
She does. She actually takes on and beats the crap out of at least two, maybe three of the villains. She holds her own in a fight and is almost able to save herself, but I think they get her at the very end and then Bond swoops in and like saves her. But she's able to like at least for a minute hold her own against a couple of Blofeld's men.
Yeah. I feel like Tracy is one of the more memorable ones.
She is. She definitely is, which is just a shame that they killed her. But I guess,
Yeah.
had to have James come back and be mad for the next one.
Which I. First of all, the whole thing with him going to Switzerland is him posing as a genealogist. So he's there to figure out whether Blofeld is actually supposed to be the Count of the whatever the fuck the French or name that they had for him. I don't even remember at this point. It doesn't matter. Um,
But there was like a side comment that he said something about cutting off his earlobes doesn't make you a count. So I guess he just like surgically removed his earlobes to try and make it seem like he was
and
a count.
somehow fixed the facial scar as well because he didn't have that. He was played by somebody different in this one.
Yeah, he's played by a completely different person and like there is no like Strick said, there is no facial scar. The only thing that clues you into that this is the same person is that he's bald, he has a white cat, and people call him Blowfield.
Yeah. Like it's the same person, but I guess he also went through some facial reconstruction surgeries.
You know what? That's fair. He does have that technology.
But I guess
Um,
with the comment at the beginning of the other Bond didn't have to deal with this, which is something I missed. Um, which I guess I would clue into the whole suicide thing if I'd paid attention to it. But
well, see,
multiple,
it wasn't even made clear that she was committing suicide. This was just as he was picking up her shoes after she ran from the two guys that just swooped in and tried to attack him.
which I feel like were probably men of her father's
I think
instead.
so. Because when he saw her again, they attacked him again, and then I think a third time right before it was either a second time and he then immediately met her father, or it was a second time and then a third time and then he immediately met her father. Either
So
way, he kept getting
he got attacked
attacked.
on the beach at the very beginning. He got attacked when he went to her room at the casino area because she
Yep.
apparently had slipped into his room instead. I fucking weird. And then the guy that he beat up in her room was at the door listening to their conversation. Creepy. And then when he's leaving, because she's already checked out ahead of him, and he gets taken into a car by more of Draco's men, and then is finally taken to Draco, and that's where he has the whole thing of, I want you to marry my daughter.
Yeah, that's just a whole conversation. Just
There's a lot wrong with this movie, but it's not a bad movie. The only one complaint I have, the sound design was bad. There were
the
so
sound for reason.
they chose
Go
a
ahead.
lot of weirdly high pitched things or things that resonated way too much, and it hurts the ears.
Yeah, the it's something that we see a lot in modern movies where the special effects noise, the background noise, the explosions, all that is way higher than it needs to be, but also especially way higher than the dialogue. So I don't know if this
But
movie
this
just
one, they
pioneered.
didn't have it very well acoustically because the whole suspense music or the sneaky music had really high notes that just grated on the ears. There's an entire fight scene in a room filled with bells, and that fucking sucked.
I really, I really need to check and see if I can't find a closed caption thing for these movies so I can turn it down some and we can still get dialogue and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a ton of complaints with the movie other than the length was probably padded out too much and the audio being overly annoying. But then we have the very ending after they've had their whole wedding, driving down to go on their honeymoon, and Blofeld and Bunt just go on a drive by, and she gets killed as he's hidden behind the car because he was out of the car pulling off the flowers because some people passed by saying, "You look like you're a flower advertisement," which was weird. And then the ending of it is just him in the car holding her, kissing her head, and saying, "We have all the time in the world."
Yeah, like it just fucking ends. Like the copy that I have, we don't even go into the credits. It just fucking ends abruptly.
But the way that it
Uh,
ended showed the start of the credits, so we knew that was the end of it. It
yeah,
it's like that's how this ends.
yeah, and we just like it took us a good 30 seconds to a minute just sitting there like, wait, fucking what? Because we had went through the entirety of that movie and he'd gotten married, broke poor Mrs. Moneypenny's heart, and then she's just fucking killed in the last like minute and a half. Which I guess is going to set him like again, I guess it's going to set him up for a revenge thing against Blofeld.
Which I don't know if they ever even touch back on because the next Bond is Connery again.
That's a very fair point. Like we don't know what happens to Lazenby.
It could
Like
be a
we don't know.
case of he doesn't ever come back to MI6, and that's why Connery's Bond comes back. I don't fucking remember at this point because I've actually never seen Intermatch Secret Service before. This is my first time.
Like I feel like I very much feel like had you already seen it before, you would have been like, "Hey, by the way, the end is like just like really abrupt."
Yeah, no, I
I won't.
wasn't fucking aware of this.
Yeah, no. It's very wild that they just end it. Um,
Let me. I don't
honestly,
think this one had high when it came to the scores.
it it was kind of mid. But like you said, complaint wise, I feel like my complaints are the runtime, the sound mixes, and the ending. That and her fucking dad. Like those were my main complaints for the movie.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually, the ratings were not horrible on it. Let's see what the audience rating. So the critic rating for
The
this movie was 81%.
which isn't bad.
No, the audience score was 64%. I think that's the biggest difference I've seen in these movies.
So far, yeah, that's the biggest difference we've had. I would have to say, for me personally, because of the aforementioned complaints, I probably wouldn't rewatch this movie.
I would watch the plot, but because of all of the grating on my ears and stuff, it would definitely be. I would not have it going through headphones like we did here, first of all, because ow.
Uh,
But
even
I don't know if it'd be one that I'd even put on in the background.
I I don't think I would be able to put it on in the background simply because of just how long it was. Oh, and one thing that it only happened twice, but one thing that he kept happening that got on my nerves is he kept saying "good girl" to her. I was just like, can we not? You could say clever. Because she'd always do something that would like fuck with the bad guys, and he was just like really impressed and just be like, "good girl." And it's like just any you could say something else.
Stop it, sir. I think I would rate this one probably about 70. I don't want to give it
Yeah,
super low just because of the sound design, because they might have been experimenting with something. It's very possible some
they
kind
might.
of new technology might have come out because there was 2 years between this one and the last one. Which actually, fun
It,
fact, they mentioned that in the movie because they make a mention of him spending 2 years trying to find Blofeld, which is a
yeah,
really
they
cool
do.
detail.
Um, and it could, in the defense of the sound thing, it could also just be the copy that I have because, haha, piracy. Um, don't pirate movies, kids. But it could also be that it just could be a bad copy that I got.
It could have been, but it is a case of much later. There's always points where the action is so much louder than the dialogue.
Yeah.
But I just don't know
For
if this would be a rewatch for me. Don't want to rate it low because of that, but it's just a.
this isn't a rewatch for me, and I'm probably going to go as low as 65% simply because the runtime could have been cut down a
There was a
lot.
lot that could have been cut out. Like some of these scenes took way too long.
They did. Some of the shots that they did, they didn't necessarily need to do, and it was purely for just like visuals, padding the visuals and just like making it pretty, which is absolutely fine. I understand that a lot of people will do that in movies. It's just it seems again, it drug in places. There was a whole point that after I got done eating, I got up as he after they had captured him and they locked him in that little closet with all the gears and stuff and he was trying to escape. I actually freaking left to put my dishes away and run to the restroom, and he had only just escaped by the time I
Yeah,
got
no, that
back.
whole escape scene took way too long. Oh, we need to make sure we time it correctly. Oh, whenever this moves, this moves. And during it, we have
Mhm.
small little plot point things with all of these girls from the clinic going in for their little Christmas party and they're getting a gift and things. And it was dumb.
It was like I feel like that part could have been skipped entirely. That could have just been exposition about how, oh yeah, how are we going to do this? Oh, we're going to give them gifts with all of the things that they need, and we're just going to continue the mind control and hypnotize them so that at midnight they're always here to receive more conditioning from me. Like that whole thing could have
Yeah.
been dialogue and exposition. Like he could have been giving Bunt the gifts to wrap and say, this is what these are for. Make sure that they're all in the same room so I can give them the instructions so that they know they have to be here. They have to be alone at midnight so that I can recondition them. Like that could have been that whole thing.
So that's really all for this. Next week, we finish up Connery and move on to Roger Moore's movies.
Yep, next week, time permitting, because we are about to hit the holidays, we are expecting to
I'm
do
also on call
Diamonds Are
this
Forever.
week, so maybe not.
Oh, good point. Do we want to skip and then do the week of New Year's?
I mean, I'm not technically on call on Christmas, so that afternoon, after all the family stuff, we could watch a couple.
Okay. We'll play it by ear. As of right now, we're looking at watching potentially three. We'll see how it works. I
Because
did
what
not
we'll
realize Roger
have,
Moore had.
Roger Moore has 7 as well.
Jesus. Okay, good for him.
Yeah, so the next 3 will be Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, which has one of the better opener sequences because just that song's fucking great. And then Man with the Golden Gun. Which,
Yep.
fun fact, where Man with the Golden Gun, that movie in a lot of Bond games has given a power up mode in the settings called Golden Gun mode, where you one shot everything. So it's a little Easter egg the games have. Really cool.
Love that. We are officially about to hit the 70s with the Bond movies.
Yep.
And this isn't Connery's last one, is it? Or is it?
No. Diamonds Are Forever, his 6th one. He comes back after most of Roger Moore's for, oh God, what is the name of it? Come on, computer.
I see Diamonds Are Forever. Then we start with Roger Moore, and at least the thing that I have, we go from Roger Moore straight into Timothy Dalton.
Never Say Never Again is the last one that has Connery, and that was one of the ones that wasn't done by the same company. That's the other
Oh,
thing.
it's a non-Eon film. Okay, I need to
Yeah,
make sure I.
but that one is listed among the Bond films regularly, whereas the 67 Casino Royale is not.
Say, yep, I have Never Say Never Again. Okay, cool. Just needed to make sure I had that one.
Mm-hmm.
That one came out in '83. Okay, neat.
Oh, wait, were they both the same year? Because Octopussy was also 83.
Well, it being a
Two
different,
different studios, that makes sense.
yeah.
So I guess it's
Yeah,
really
they
up to
came up.
you if you want to add that one in since it's not the same studio.
Since it's canon, I say yeah, let's do the
See,
thing.
I don't know if it's considered canon. It's just a case of when you ever look up James Bond movies, that one's in there, whereas the 67 Casino Royale is not among that list. So I really don't know on that one.
I couldn't tell you. I'm also looking through just looking through the future films, and A View to Kill is not liked at all.
It is not. It's one of the lowest rated.
It is the lowest rated. It is 36% for critics and 40% for no,
That's that's
Metacritic.
Moore's last movie, and then it goes to Dalton. So,
Ugh.
but I think with
All right.
that we will
Fun.
we will leave it here for this one. Appreciate everybody for watching. If you want to comment down below your opinions on these movies, if you've seen them, feel free to. I'm sure they might differ from ours.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy these, feel free to hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button because it helps out with growing. I'm much smaller, but I wouldn't mind making this as a secondary thing for myself. Um, but other than that, hope to see you guys in next video, whatever it is I have going out. I need to do some more recordings. I haven't had anything stocked up, but oh well. um,
And depending on where you are and when you are watching this, happy holidays. Be safe, be warm.
yes, whatever you celebrate, we are here to support you.
Yes.
And I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Bye, guys.